What if I told you one blink could end a war? One look, a single turn of the eye, could burn gods, twist time, or erase you from reality itself. That's not a myth, that's the Mangekyō Sharingan. And today, we're ranking every Mangekyō Sharingan ability, from the weakest jutsu that barely deserves its name, to the godlike powers that rewrite the laws of existence. If you think you already know who's number one, stick around. The truth might burn hotter than Amaterasu itself. And hey, before we dive in, if you love these deep dive rankings and lore breakdowns, hit like and subscribe right now. It helps the channel more than you think, and I promise, what's coming next will blow your mind. Rules, how this list works. To make this fair, we need a few ground rules. Only unique Mangekyō Sharingan abilities. We're ranking the jutsu, not the person. So even if Sasuke or Itachi use the same move differently, the technique itself decides its place. No Rinnegan powers, those are on another level entirely. We're sticking to pure Mangekyō. Only canon abilities shown or clearly referenced. No filler-only tricks or theories about Fugaku's eyes. Base forms only. No eternal Mangekyō or Edo buffs. If it needs resurrection to work properly, it's not getting extra credit. Alright, rules set. Now open your eyes, and let's begin. Danzo's Kotowa Matsukami. The broken copy. At first glance, mind control sounds terrifying, right? But Danzo's version of Kotowa Matsukami is like buying a Ferrari and realizing it only drives once every decade. The technique itself lets you rewrite a person's thoughts without them realizing it. But the eye Danzo stole from Shisui was crippled. It needed massive chakra, worked painfully slow, and its cooldown was absurd. Plus, if your target realized what was happening, the genjutsu broke. Compare that to Shisui's own version, which is god-tier subtle. Danzo's. It's an expensive once-in-a-lifetime coupon for manipulation. In the ninja world, that's just not enough. So yeah, terrifying concept, terrible execution. That's why it sits rock bottom at W18. Shin Uchiha's telekinetic weapon control. Flashy, but pointless. Remember Shin Uchiha from the Boruto era? The guy obsessed with evolution. His Mangekyō ability looked cool, controlling bladed weapons mid-air with telekinesis. But honestly, that's it. Yes, he managed to tag Naruto and Sasuke once or twice, but his technique is more parlor trick than war winner. It's limited by the number of weapons he plants seals on, and it doesn't scale into true power. If your ocular power can be countered by just dodge, you're in trouble. Sorry, Shin, you're strong for a side villain, but your eyes belong near the bottom of this list. Amaterasu, the black flame that fails too often. Let's talk about one of the most iconic techniques in the entire series. Amaterasu, jet black flames that burn for 7 days and 7 nights, said to consume even the sun itself. On paper, it's perfect. Instant cast, unstoppable, lethal. In practice, not so much. Amaterasu has a problem. It's too slow and too predictable. The user has to focus on a target, and if they move or hide, the flames just hit the wrong spot. Sure, once they land, they're deadly, but so many enemies have dodged, countered, or even absorbed it that the mystique wears off fast. It's still a terrifying weapon, especially against slower foes, but in a world of teleportation, substitutions, and jutsu that warp space-time, Amaterasu just doesn't hold up. Beautiful, deadly, outdated. Kagutsuchi, fire, finally controlled. Now here's where things get interesting. Kagutsuchi is the control system that fixes Amaterasu's biggest flaw. With it, the user can shape the black flames, bend them into weapons, walls, or shields. Sasuke turned this into literal art, molding flame swords, burning arrows, and defense domes. Suddenly, the uncontrollable fire became a tactical weapon. Kagutsuchi turns chaos into precision. It's what separates an arsonist from an artist. That evolution alone boosts it far above raw amaterasu. 14. Tsukuyomi, 72 hours in a second, the most elegant form of torture in existence. Itachi's signature genjutsu, Tsukuyomi, traps the victim's mind in a world where the user controls everything: time, space, and pain. To outsiders, it lasts a blink. To the victim, 72 hours of psychological hell. No blood, no wounds, just shattered sanity. It's pure dominance, but with one fatal limitation: you need eye contact, and if your opponent knows it's coming, they can avoid it. Against weaker minds, Tsukuyomi is divine. Against veterans or blindfolded foes, it's useless. Still, in terms of mental warfare, this jutsu remains one of the most iconic and horrifying weapons ever shown. Chapter 13. Kamui, Kakashi's version. Precision erasure. Few jutsu feel as unfair as Kamui. Kakashi's version, specifically, is surgical destruction. Point, stare, and a piece of reality just disappears. Kamui can warp targets into another dimension, delete limbs, and even interact with Kaguya's portals. That's god-tier versatility. But what makes Kakashi's Kamui lower on the list is how costly it is. It drains enormous chakra and leaves him vulnerable after use. Early on, it could only target small objects, though later he mastered it enough to warp a whole-tailed beast's attack. Kamui is a sniper rifle among swords, powerful, elegant, and terrifying, but not yet the ultimate form of ocular supremacy. 12. Koto Amatsu Kami, Itachi's version. The hidden rewrite. Now this is where things start to get dangerous. Itachi's Koto Amatsu Kami, implanted into his crow, is the ultimate stealth manipulation. The ability to rewrite someone's will, instantly, silently, and permanently, without them ever knowing. He used it to free himself from Edo Tensei and turn the tide of an entire war. That's one activation changing the entire plot. The only reason it's not top 5? The cooldown. 10 years per use. If that cooldown didn't exist, this would be straight-up mind control god mode. Still, as a single-use nuke of manipulation, it's unrivaled. If you've made it this far, you're officially deep in Mangekyō territory, the part where abilities stop being techniques and start becoming laws of reality. If you're enjoying the breakdown, hit that like button. It tells YouTube you want more deep dives like this. And if you're not subscribed yet, come on, you don't want to miss the next one. Now get ready, because from here on, the jutsu start to break physics. Drach 11. Obito's Kamui, the intangibility paradox, 910. This isn't just teleportation, this is reality evasion. Obito's version of Kamui lets him phase through attacks, teleport across distances, and store objects in a private dimension. That means he can walk through walls, make weapons pass through him, and appear anywhere instantly. It's defense and offense, wrapped in one perfect paradox. When used right, Obito becomes nearly invincible, intangible until the exact second he chooses to strike. The only flaw? Overconfidence. Kamui's intangibility can be broken by timing or another space-time technique. But make no mistake, if Obito had kept both eyes active during the Fourth War, he might have been unbeatable. Through 10, Kamui, combined, deletion, travel, and control. Now let's merge both Kamui variants, Kakashi's precision erasure and Obito's full-body intangibility. Together, they form one of the most complete abilities in the series. Teleport allies, phase through walls, delete attacks, or warp an enemy into oblivion. Offense, defense, utility, Kamui is everything a shinobi could ever want. This is where ocular power evolves from combat tool to reality interface. The user doesn't just fight, they manipulate existence itself. But we're still not done. The top 9 go beyond even that. Truth number 9, Shisui's True. Kotoa Matsukami, the perfect mind hack. If Danzo's version was a cheap copy, Shisui's True Kotoa Matsukami is the flawless, terrifying original. This jutsu doesn't just control someone's thoughts, it rewrites their reality without breaking the illusion of free will. Imagine this. Your enemy suddenly believes your mission is their own. They act against their own people, thinking it's their idea. That's not genjutsu. That's rewriting human code. No hand signs, no visual cue, no weakness except the cooldown. If that decade-long recharge didn't exist, Shisui would have ruled the shinobi world without spilling a drop of blood. And that's what makes this power so haunting. It's not flashy, but it's terrifyingly quiet. You never know you've been controlled until it's too late. Tsukuyomi Enhanced, the mind that breaks empires. Tsukuyomi alone is devastating, but in the hands of a strategist, it becomes a war-ending weapon. Think about it. A genjutsu that lets you manipulate time inside your target's mind. You can extract intel, reprogram behavior, or force surrender in seconds. It's a mental prison and a torture chamber wrapped in one. Itachi used it to shatter people's will. But imagine if a Kage-level tactician used it to interrogate entire armies. It's limited by line of sight, yes, but once it connects, it's checkmate. That's why Tsukuyomi isn't just a genjutsu. It's a psychological nuke. A weapon that doesn't leave scars, only silence. Number 7, Kagutsuchi, Advanced. Shaping fire into strategy. By now, you probably see the theme. Raw power means nothing without control. Kagutsuchi isn't just flame manipulation. At its highest level, it's fire geometry, the ability to control black flame like clay. Barriers, spikes, spears, armor, anything the mind imagines. The fire becomes. Sasuke mastered it so completely that he could defend himself mid-battle, attack multiple enemies, and even trap opponents in fire constructs. He didn't just use Amaterasu, he designed with it. Think of Kagutsuchi as the Mangekyō's creative mode. You're not throwing fire anymore, you're architecting destruction. Number 6, Kamui, Area Control. Delete everything you see. This is where Kamui graduates from sniper rifle to battlefield broom. At higher mastery, Kamui isn't about deleting one arm or one kunai. It's about erasing entire attacks, teleporting groups, and controlling zones of combat. With both eyes, a user can phase through attacks while simultaneously warping multiple targets. Obito used it to remove explosive tags, redirect beasts, and even move through time-space while intangible. It's pure chaos, but in the right hands, it's surgical chaos. This is the moment you realize Kamui isn't a jutsu. It's a dimension. The user becomes the architect of space itself. 5. Kotoa Matsukami without cooldown, the hypothetical apocalypse. Now let's break the rules for a second. Imagine Kotoa Matsukami with no cooldown. Unlimited use, no limits. That means total mental domination of the shinobi world. Cages, tailed beasts, entire armies, rewritten in real time. No blood, no war, just silent control. You could end conflicts before they start, rewrite history without lifting a kunai, and command nations like chess pieces. That's not genjutsu. That's omnipotence with plausible deniability. In fact, this hypothetical version is so strong it's borderline unfair, which is why it's ranked high, even though it doesn't canonically exist without that restriction. It's the only jutsu that threatens to outthink every other power on this list. 4. Tsukuyomi, Strategic Level. When pain becomes prophecy. Now remember when I said Tsukuyomi is a mental nuke? Let's expand that. Imagine using Tsukuyomi not for torture, but for strategy. A user could simulate thousands of battle outcomes inside a target's mind in seconds. You could make an enemy believe they've already lost, showing them a fake future so convincing they surrender without a fight. That's weaponized psychology at its peak. No violence, no chakra beam, just raw intellect and ocular precision. It's scary to realize that in the right hands, Tsukuyomi can literally rewrite destiny. The for 3, Amaterasu, plus Kagutsuchi, fire that thinks, 1645. And here's where creativity meets destruction. Amaterasu alone is chaos, black flames that consume everything. Kagutsuchi alone is control, the ability to shape those flames. Combine them, and you get intelligent fire. Sasuke's combination of these powers turns him into a walking apocalypse. He doesn't need to aim anymore. He designs his attacks mid-battle. Defensive armor that melts anything on contact, blades of eternal fire, traps that incinerate before you even notice. It's an artist painting with annihilation. And beyond its aesthetic appeal, the combo covers nearly every range of combat. Offense, defense, and area denial. The only reason it's not number 1, space-time jutsu still beats fire, no matter how hot. But let's be real, in any normal fight, this combo is a nightmare. You've seen flames that can't be extinguished, and illusions that can trap you in eternal pain. But the top 2 eyes, they don't just manipulate what's real, they decide what reality is. Before we jump into the top 2, if you're still watching right now, you're part of the elite crew that actually finishes the video. Do me a favor, drop a like and subscribe if you want to see me rank every Rinnegan ability next. You'll love what comes next, trust me. Alright, it's time for the gods of the eyes. The Mangekyō, Kamui perfected, the space-time god. This isn't teleportation anymore, it's command over existence. When a Mangekyō user masters both forms of Kamui, short-range, intangibility, and long-range, erasure, they ascend beyond physical limits. They can exist in 2 dimensions at once, phase between worlds, and strike from nowhere. Obito and Kakashi, when sinking their eyes, briefly touched this level, teleporting entire projectiles, saving allies mid-battle, and even crossing into Kaguya's realm. Perfect Kamui users don't fight in 3 dimensions, they fight in 4. The only counter is overwhelming speed or someone else with comparable space-time manipulation, like Minato or Kaguya herself. Otherwise, you're fighting a ghost that can kill you from another plane. At this point, Kamui is more than a jutsu, it's an existential advantage. The battlefield isn't a place, it's wherever the user decides it is. Number 1, Kamui, full potential. The one eye to rule. Them all this, is it? The ultimate Mangekyō ability. The eye that doesn't just bend the rules of chakra, it writes them. At full potential, Kamui is nothing short of reality manipulation, a complete control over space-time, teleportation, intangibility, deletion, dimensional travel, and fusion with other Kamui portals. Let's break down why it's number 1. First, it's universal. Amaterasu burns, Tsukuyomi torments, Kotoa Matsukami manipulates. But Kamui does everything. You want defense? Become intangible. You want offense? Erase your opponent from existence. You want utility? Move your allies or objects across worlds. It's the only ability that can counter every other Mangekyō technique at once. Fire can't hit what doesn't exist. Genjutsu can't affect someone phasing through time-space. Even mind control can't reach you if your consciousness isn't in this dimension. That's not just versatility, that's dominion. When Obito used Kamui at full efficiency, entire battlefields became meaningless. Bullets, bombs, tailed beasts, all useless. He decided when and where fights began, and when they ended. And yet, what makes Kamui beautiful isn't its destructive potential, it's its symbolism. Every Mangekyō power comes from pain. Amaterasu burns like loss. Tsukuyomi traps you in memory. Kotoa Matsukami forces control. But Kamui represents escape. Obito awakened it through trauma. The desire to flee from a world that betrayed him. The Mangekyō gave him exactly that. An ability to disappear. To exist apart from pain. It's tragic, poetic, and terrifying all at once. The most human emotion, wanting to escape suffering, turned into the most godlike ability ever conceived. That's why Kamui reigns supreme. It's not just the strongest eye, it's the most real. What this ranking really means, now that we've ranked them all, from Danzo's knockoff hypnosis to Obito's space-time god mode, what do we actually learn about the Mangekyō Sharingan? It's simple. These eyes are mirrors. Every ability is born from emotion, grief, guilt, obsession, or love so intense it breaks the soul. That's why no two Mangekyō look or behave the same. The Sharingan doesn't just evolve through battle, it evolves through heartbreak. Amaterasu, anger that never dies. Tsukuyomi, trauma frozen in time. Kotoa Matsukami, control born from distrust. Kamui, the wish to escape pain. These powers aren't random gifts, they're emotional signatures. The eye becomes an extension of your trauma, and your trauma becomes a weapon. That's why the Mangekyō is the most beautiful tragedy in all of Naruto. It gives the broken a god's power, but at a price: blindness, isolation, and guilt. Every time it opens, someone's heart closes. The duality of power. Let's step back. If you think about it, every great power in Naruto comes with a curse. The Rasengan burns its user's chakra. Sage Mode demands stillness in chaos. But the Mangekyō, it demands your sanity. You see, these eyes test how far you'll go for what you've lost. Will you burn the world for revenge? Freeze it in illusion? Rewrite its rules? Or vanish from it entirely? It's a question every Uchiha answers differently, and the results shape history. Madara sought dominance. Itachi sought peace through pain. Sasuke sought justice through rebellion. Obito sought love through escape. Different hearts, same curse. That's the beauty of this list. You're not just ranking jutsu. You're ranking human emotion, weaponized into art. Final reflection. When eyes become stories, when we talk about the Mangekyō Sharingan, we're really talking about storytelling through suffering. Each eye isn't just a weapon, it's a confession. The black flames of Amaterasu aren't fire, they're mourning. Tsukuyomi's torture isn't cruelty, it's a memory that won't fade. Kamui's vanishing act isn't a trick, it's grief trying to disappear. The stronger the pain, the brighter the power. That's the law of the Uchiha. But here's the twist. The eyes that burn the world also light it. Without their pain, there's no story, no redemption, no Naruto. So when people say the Sharingan is a curse, I say it's the most honest thing in the show. Because pain, no matter how dark, always leaves light behind. If you made it this far, congratulations. You're not just a casual fan, you're a true shinobi scholar. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Mangekyō's secrets, do 3 simple things for me. Hit that like button. It tells the algorithm that you crave real storytelling, not recycled clips. Subscribe, because next time, we're ranking the Rinnegan abilities from godly to what even is that? Comment your top 3 Mangekyō powers below. I'll feature the best fan ranking in the next upload. Maybe yours will get pinned. Your engagement is literally what keeps this community alive. You're part of the clan now. The Mangekyō Sharingan isn't just a weapon of destruction. It's a lens through which pain becomes power. Every flame, every illusion, every space-time distortion, they all trace back to one thing: love twisted by loss. That's the Uchiha legacy. That's the price of vision. So next time you see those crimson eyes spinning, remember, they're not just watching the world, they're rewriting it. If you loved this ranking, check out the video on screen. The truth behind the strongest Rinnegan. And remember, every view, every comment, every like is another Sharingan awakening in this channel's story. I'll see you in the next battle.